Hello to all my peeps out there in YouTube land. All the ones that's listening there in the chat room, and all the ones that'll listen later on Memorex, and the ones that join us late, and all of you. Good to have you with us here on the 25th day of July, 2016. You realize in 5 more months, that'll be the 25th day of December, will be Christmas Day. All this heat and mugginess will be behind us, and we'll probably be standing in snow. So enjoy it while you got it, because it too shall pass. All the seasons come and go. So we want to give you a little report here in Indiana. It is a muggy 80-something degrees, headed for 90-something degrees, and it's humid. There's a tiny little breeze blowing. I see a few leaves are twitching on the tree, and that's about the size of it here. They called for a little rain overnight. We didn't get it. They're saying that we might get a little rain this week. It'll be hit and miss, so I don't know. Looks like I'll probably be watering the garden some. Things are growing out there and looking pretty good right now. Put on some beans this morning to cook so that I can get them froze and have some meals for this winter. So everything is going along smooth. I did the farmer's market over the weekend. It was hot, 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 hot. I got dehydrated, come home about sick, and took me the rest of the day Saturday to pull myself together. But that's another one under my belt. Moving on. We got all kinds of news over the weekend. My goodness gracious, we got all sorts of things. And I put all the URLs down in the description of the video. So if you want to read up on them later, anything that I may have missed or whatever, that you got them there. And I'll just kind of fly into it. Of course, you know, today's the first day of the DNC. So that's going to be one of the main things, I guess, in the news the next day or two. But I got several things pertaining to that, so we'll see what we can get into here. Get the computer to cooperate with me. This first one is off of DennisMichaelLynch.com, and it is about new batch of Hillary emails released from the DNC hack. And computer is just not wanting to cooperate this morning. It is hot in this room. I've got fans running on the computer to try to cool it down and make it work with me. There we go, I think. And it'll go to twitching here in a minute and jump around and make me stutter. It says a batch of 20,000 emails between Democratic National Committee officials have reportedly just been released, courtesy of WikiLeaks. The Daily Caller reported that just weeks ago, a hacker using the name Lucifer 2.0 released records from the DNC computer system, including internal planning notes and Democratic donor list. The hacker claimed that at the time that they also had obtained DNC emails. The hacker or hackers claimed to be Romanian, according to the Daily Caller, but they are suspected to be a team of Russian hackers. The DNC chairperson, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, has conceded that their system was infiltrated. The released emails are reportedly between the dates of January 15th and May 25th, or let's say January of 2015 and May 25th, 2016. WikiLeaks claims the email release is just part one of a new series it's calling Hillary Leaks. They're happily tweeting away today with teasers, links, and quotes from the hacked email. And they give you some examples here in this. If you want to read them, you can go to that website and check it all out. I'm not going to read all that because we got a lot to cover today, but you get the gist. So we'll get that one off the screen, and we'll go to the next one. The next one here is about the Clintons. And I'm waiting. Poor computer. I'm working this poor little thing to death. Okay, this one is USA Watchdog, and it says Clinton Foundation is Robin Hood in reverse. Charles Ortel. Financial expert Charles Ortel says the Clinton Foundation is the biggest charity fraud in history. Ortel, who does high-powered research for top Wall Street investment firms, applied the skill to analyzing the Clinton Foundation and contends, I feel one of the things that make this country exceptional is the charitable spirit. Charity is a noble thing, particularly when you do it for no recompense. The Clintons are out there holding themselves out as if they are charitable philanthropists, and in reality, I argue they are really Robin Hood in reverse. They are stealing from the poor to reward the rich, and I find that reprehensible behavior. How much money has the Clinton Foundation raised globally? Ortel says it's a 100 billion criminal conspiracy, and goes on to say, I think it's a disgrace. To put that number into perspective, depending on how you look at the Bernie Madoff Ponzi scheme, that was either 40 billion to 60 billion. This is 100 billion and maybe more. How much Clinton Foundation money actually makes it to charitable causes, Ortel says. It's possible to tell, or it's impossible to tell from the filings. You are supposed to tell from the filings, and it's impossible to tell. One of the biggest expenses in the recent period in the Clinton Foundation is for pharmaceuticals for supposedly fighting HIV/AIDS. If this were a well-run charity, you would provide detailed breakdown of what pharmaceuticals by type and what price. There is none of that disclosure. You don't know if that pharmaceutical number is completely made up or not. You have no way of telling, and the auditors have never done their work. This is why I say it is a textbook case study in global charity fraud. It needs to be exposed as such. How did this so-called charity get so off track? Ortel explains, when you look at any foundation, and the Clinton Foundation in particular, you have to check and see what its authorized tax-exempt purposes are, because this entity raises money from the public continuously. They have to be very specific. Their authorized tax-exempt purpose stated in their application dated 23 December 2007 was supposed to be Presidential Archival Research Facility in Little Rock. They never have been authorized, as far as I can tell from the public filings. They have never been authorized to fight HIV/AIDS, fight climate change, convene meetings in New York, and set up these various initiatives. None of them has been validly authorized, which means they have been raising money with materially false and misleading public filings. They have been doing it using the mail, using the internet, and using telephones, all of which is a federal crime. Join Greg Hunter as he goes one-on-one with Clinton Foundation investigator Charles Ortel, who is also managing partner of Newport Value Partners. And they have part of the interview in a video on that URL if you want to take a look at it. It says, after the interview, Ortel says he will be publishing a new report on the Clinton Foundation in a few weeks. Ortel says he has published 40 reports on the foundation so far. You can find his work free of charge on charlesortel.com. So there is that one. The next one that I have is about Hillary and her vice presidential pick. And this is off CNN Politics. Hillary Clinton selects Tim Kaine as her running mate. And there is a video on that if you want to take a look at that video. I'm not going to show it here because there's too many ads and stuff to pop up on all this. But it says CNN, Hillary Clinton has chosen Virginia Senator Tim Kaine to be her running mate, turning into a steady and seasoned hand in government to fill out the Democratic ticket, she announced Friday. I'm thrilled to announce my running mate, Tim Kaine, a man who's devoted his life to fighting for others, she tweeted. Minutes later, Kaine tweeted, just got off the phone with Hillary. I'm honored to be her running mate. Can't wait to hit the trail tomorrow in Miami. She will introduce her new partner at a campaign rally Saturday in Miami, a recognition of Florida's pivotal importance in the fall. It's also a chance for Kaine, a fluent Spanish speaker, to introduce Clinton to Latino voters, a critical slice of the electorate in her quest to defeat Donald Trump. Clinton is hoping to seize the spotlight from Republicans after their convention in Cleveland, the site of Kaine's first joint appearance with Clinton Florida International University, where the student body is more than half Hispanic. Labor, abortion rights groups praise Kaine pick. The announcement came on the heels of an attack in Munich, Germany that dominated the afternoon news cycle. The Clinton campaign deliberately over how to avoid a split-screen scenario that could be perceived as insensitive, but in the end proceeded with its plan to make the unveil on Friday. Clinton's decision to choose Kaine began with John Podesta brought the candidate 24 binders to her home in Chappaquiddick, New York in April, according to campaign aide. Last week, Clinton and Kaine spent 90 minutes together, followed by another meeting on Saturday that brought together the two families, including Clinton's husband, daughter, and son-in-law, as well as Kaine's wife. Ultimately, Clinton was swayed by her personal comfort with Kaine, as well as the belief that the senator is fully prepared to do the job. On Friday, Clinton called Kaine around 7:30 p.m. and then spoke with President Barack Obama. The president later praised Clinton's choice, telling supporters in a fundraising email Saturday that Tim is a good man. He's true progressive, and he will make great vice president. It may be an anti-establishment year, but Clinton's running mate is an insider, a senator and former governor from the critical battleground of Virginia and former chairman of Democratic National Committee. Trump's campaign seized upon Kaine's Washington experience in a fundraising text message to supporters, writing, "The ultimate insiders, Obama, Hillary, and Kaine. Don't let Obama have a third term. Contribute." The campaign later issued a lengthy statement labeling the Virginia Democrat corrupt Kaine. Kaine, 58, has long been seen as a seasoned and safe choice for Clinton, who could help shore up support among white working-class voters. Her selection ended a long search that was conducted almost entirely in secret, a stark contrast to Trump's vice presidential search. It reflected a strategy choice by Clinton to go with a running mate who amplifies her argument that experience in government, not sizzle, is the best path to keeping the White House in Democratic hands. Kaine's Midwestern roots also run strong. Born in Minnesota, Kaine is the son of a welder who was raised in Kansas and graduated from the University of Missouri. He went to Harvard Law School, but before graduation served a year as missionary in Honduras. Clinton camp was ready to pounce on Trump's vice presidential rollout. It was an experience that cemented his Catholic faith and strengthened his fluency in Spanish. Kaine was the first member to give an entire speech on the Senate floor in Spanish. It was during a debate in support of the bipartisan Gang of Eight immigration reform package. And that goes on if you want to read more about Senator Kaine and his being nominated as vice presidential pick. So we put that one down, and we'll see about getting another one up here. And this one is about the DNC. DNC erects 4-mile, 8-foot-tall fence around Philadelphia convention site. To the Democratic National Committee elites, keeping average Americans away from their convention is a good idea, while protecting the southern border from intruding terrorists, rapists, and murderers is a bad one. The DNC has erected a 4-mile fence around its convention site at Philadelphia Wells Fargo Center. Isn't it ironic they're doing so much to protect the site named after a bank? The fence, which appears to be about 8 foot tall, is intended to keep out any individuals with whom Democratic Party leaders, delegates, and other liberals elites would not mingle. Fox 29 Steve Keeley shared a picture of a portion of the fence and said that it was erected near the intersection of Patterson and Broad, and there's a picture of it in this URL if you want to see it. So there you have that. They seem to be so against the Republicans wanting to put up any fence, but, you know, they can put one up around their convention. That was interesting. Then I had another one down here, if I could find it. It kind of fell in with all this, and I'll be dogged if I can see it right now, so I don't know where it went. I'll get to it later, but I think it kind of fell in with this. But we'll go on with what order I have them. This one is some breaking news that happened this morning. It is off of Fox News US. 2 dead, 17 hurt in a shooting at a teen party in Florida nightclub. And It says 5 people were, or well, let's see, that's jumping around. All right, 2 people were killed and as many as 17, and one was just 12 years old, wounded when gunfire erupted at a teen swimsuit party at the Southwest Florida nightclub early Monday, according to reports. 5 people were detained by police, but it's unclear if any were believed to be a shooter. Neither of the shooter's identity nor motivation was clear. Authorities are not sure if one shooter or multiple shooters were involved. The attack apparently occurred at a teen event billed as Swimsuit Glow Party at Club Blue in Fort Myers, local media reported. The shooting is definitely not terrorism, police told Fox News' Heather Newart. The incident appeared to have been gang-related, a law enforcement officer told Fox News' Matt Dean. We are deeply sorry for all involved, Club Blue posted on Facebook on Monday morning. We tried to give the teens what we thought was a safe place to have a good time, ages 12 to 17. There was armed security as well as full security inside and out. The area was deemed safe hours later, Fort Myers Police Captain Jim Mulligan said in a statement. 3 people remained hospitalized with serious injuries, local station Wink TV reported. One of the victims was identified as Shirley Gom, age 12. A spokeswoman for Lee Memorial Health System told Wink. The shooting came more than a month after the terror attack at a nightclub in Orlando that was the deadliest shooting in modern U.S. history. The shooting at the Pulse nightclub on June the 12th left 49 dead and 53 others wounded. The violence at Club Blue erupted about 12:30 a.m. Monday, and there were 2 active crime scenes, Mulligan said. Several hours later, a street in the area remained closed as police investigated. As the club was closed and parents were picking their children up, that's when this all took place. Club Blue posted on Facebook. There was nothing more we could have done. As you see, it was not kids at the party that did this despicable act. The area was later deemed safe, but Mulligan said a street was still closed as authorities investigated. Online state records showed that the alcohol license for Club Blue was revoked June the 7th. The records from Department of Business and Professional Regulation state that the club's license was revoked due to an incident that occurred a year ago, but there were no details available. The same records also showed a complaint was filed in 2014 for criminal activity and that the club was given an official notice. In a statement, authorities said the Fort Myers Police and the Lee County Sheriff's Office were actively canvassing the area looking for other persons who may be involved in this incident. Florida Governor Rick Scott said he was canceling his scheduled events on Monday so that he could meet with the officials in Fort Myers. In a statement, Scott said he's spoken with Fort Myers Mayor Randy Henderson, Lee County Sheriff Mike Scott, and Fort Myers Interim Police Chief Dennis Eads to offer any assistance from the state. So there you have that news story from this morning. The next one is out of Utah, and it is off the Daily Mail. It says, "Who you gonna call? Mysterious green slime bubbles up from sewers in Utah town." The foam was spotted by residents on Thursday in Bluffdale. Early reports indicated the foam was caused by the same algae in a Utah lake. The foam came from the Welby-Jacob Canal, which is connected to the Jordan River, which is Utah's lake's only river outlet. But health officials believe foam may have been caused by chemicals used for moss removal process in the canal. Those exposed to lake bloom had symptoms of vomiting, diarrhea, and fever. And there's a picture of this stuff. I mean, it looks like green meringue coming up out of the sewer vents. So if you want to see that mess, you can go to the URL and take a look at it. There's more to that article. But my goodness, is this what we're in store for? Green slime. The next one I've got here is off the Federal Papers, breaking. This is the one I was looking for. Debbie Wasserman Schultz resigns as the DNC chair. Just moments after being pushed aside as the chairwoman of the Democratic National Convention, the party's chairwoman has been ousted completely. Debbie Wasserman Schultz is stepping down as the chair of the Democratic National Committee when the convention is over on Thursday. Her resignation under pressure from top Democrats comes amid hackers' release of thousands of emails, many which show DNC staffers conspiring with Hillary Clinton and against Bernie Sanders. She announced her resignation Sunday afternoon, saying that she remains committed to seeing Clinton elected president. She said she spoke with both Barack Obama and Hillary before making her announcement, the Los Angeles Times is reporting. Going forward, the best way for me to accomplish those goals is to step down as party chair at the end of this convention, Wasserman Schultz said in her statement. As party chair this week, I will open and close the convention, and I will address our delegates about the stakes involved in this election, not only for Democrats, but for Americans, she said. We have planned a great and unified convention this week, and I hope and expect that the DNC team that has worked so hard to get us to this point will have the strong support of Democrats in making sure this is the best convention we've ever had. DNC Vice Chair Donna Brazile will step in as interim chair through the November election. And there's that article. And we'll see if we can get that down in the next one up. Okay, this is off of the Common Sense Show, Dave Hodges. And it's called, If You Think FEMA Camps Roundups Can't Happen, You Need to See This. At the rate we are going, someday in the near future, we will see headlines like what is depicted above in this article. The Obama administration is totally out of control. If Obama wants gun control, he should begin with and end with his own goon squads. One day soon, America could awaken to the new country in which innocent political protesters are hauled out of their homes at gunpoint and hauled off to a FEMA camp. 50% of this scenario happened last week in Cleveland. If you think that FEMA camp extractions are a far-fetched notion, please weigh the facts of recent federal government raid upon the homes of protesters who did nothing wrong. Gestapo tactics in Cleveland. I don't know if we live closer to communist China or Nazi Germany. My vote is for Nazi Germany. The American Gestapo was out in force during the RNC. This is the story of law-abiding protesters were threatened within an inch of their lives. For people that don't think FEMA camps are not real, you should pay attention to this heinous action by the federal government. If Hillary is elected, I predict we see this as a frequent event. If one writes a blog critical of the government, they will be raided. If people assemble to protest, the same will happen. 10 years ago, I could not have believed that this would ever happen. Now, this kind of federal abuse is commonplace. The group in question was presumably a faction of the group Anonymous. There is a brief description of the event, followed by the details of this Gestapo activity carried out in Cleveland. Now, I already covered the raid, I guess you would call it. They had no warrant to search, but they broke in these people's home and rousted them. So I did that, I think it was on Friday. So if you want to go back and review that, you're welcome to. And the rest of this article is in the URL of in the description of the video, so you can take a look at that. But enlightening. The next one is off of the BizPack Review. After man tosses suspicious package into police vehicle, 2 heroic New York PD cops do the unthinkable. 2 New York PD officers did the unthinkable when a man threw a white package through the passenger side window of their police van in Times Square. They drove away with the device in the vehicle in a heroic effort to move to a less crowded area. The crudely made hoax bomb turned out to be a candle and white t-shirt wrapped in tinfoil with 2 solar garden lights, according to the New York Post. But officers Pete Sobieski and Sergeant Hamid Armani, who feared the worst, didn't know that at the time. Astonishingly, the moment the contraption was tossed inside the police van, was captured on video, and there is a video in this if you would like to look at that at your leisure. We both looked at each other and we knew exactly what the other was thinking without even having to say it, Sabisky explained at a news conference. It was a very crowded area, multiple children around, multiple families around. We're not going to let this take out someone else with us, multiple casualties. Armani, who immigrated from Afghanistan, said they both started praying. I was nervous. Sabisky looked at me and said, "Boss, what are we doing?" Armani added. I said, "We're driving all right." Halfway through, we said prayers to each other, and I was like, all right, if it happens, it happens. I'm not going to stop here. The cops drove to a more isolated area and got out of the vehicle before the bomb squad responded to give the all clear. Commissioner Bill Bratton later hailed the officers as heroes of New York City, the Post reported. The man suspected of throwing the hoax bomb, identified by police as Hector Meneses, was taken into custody after a standoff with police. This is what we have become. The next one here is off of Alpha News. Minnesota daycare center searched in new potential fraud case. Daycare center sold after owner's 2013 fraud conviction, now under new investigation. Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Eden Prairie police executed a search warrant at a daycare center last week as part of an ongoing fraud investigation. The daycare center under investigation is the one that replaced the Somali-run center, whose owner was convicted of bilking the state out of more than $300,000 between 2011 and 2013. The Alpha News report, Minnesota state and city taxpayers lose big on Somali-run daycare fraud from August 19, 2015, gained national attention from conservative sites around the country. Minnesota Department of Human Services Commissioner Emily Piper told KSTP that on July 13, 2016, authorities executed a search warrant of the Lighthouse Daycare Center in Eden Prairie and Moonlight Daycare Center in St. Cloud. They also searched the homes of each of the owners of the two centers. Police say the searches are part of an ongoing theft investigation concerning the Child Assistance Program. In a statement made to KSTP News, DHS Commissioner Emily Piper said that DHS, along with the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, the Eden Prairie Police Department, and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services are conducting collaborative investigations on two unrelated cases, and the search warrants are part of the investigation. And the quote is, "I am very concerned by the allegations of misuse of public funds, especially when so many people need child care assistance who cannot access it," Piper said in a statement. The DHS Office of Inspector General will continue to participate with law enforcement in the investigations, and we will continue to work with federal and state law enforcement agencies to pursue and support criminal prosecution in cases where they believe there is fraud. Lighthouse Daycare Center's owner, Abdali Mohammed, told EdenPrairieNews.com that he is of Somali descent. The report said he believes law enforcement, without having any evidence, is targeting my community. He also stated to KSTP.com, "I feel strongly because of my ethnicity this happened. There is tension against communities in this place. Without having any proof, I have been attacked by more than 20 officers." Long list of DHS violations. And I mean, this place, wow. It says DHS cited fined Lighthouse Daycare in past violations, including failure to comply with staff distribution requirements, failure to supervise children, failure to comply with staff orientation and training requirements, failure to maintain minimum amounts of equipment, supplies, and materials, failure to comply with health and safety requirements, and failure to meet USDA nutritional guidelines. The EdenPrairieNews.com article shows Mohammed claimed he purchased the business a few months ago and violations occurred before the time of purchase, and that he has been working to get a new license from the state. Mohammed claims don't match up with tax filing records. The Minnesota Secretary of State website shows that the business filing for Lighthouse Daycare Center occurred on October 21st, 2013. Abdali Mohammed is listed as the chief executive officer on the Secretary of State website. As recently as October 2015, Lighthouse Daycare in Eden Prairie had 36 citations issued by the Minnesota Department of Human Services. DHS issues an order of conditional license in a letter that read, Lighthouse Daycare Center Incorporated has only been licensed since April 2014. However, based on the number, nature, and severity of the license violations determined and during the license review, the commissioner is placing the center's license on conditional status for 2 years, beginning October 9th, 2015. And the previous owner had fraud. There's a big part about that in here. So if you want to read all that, you can pull it up and read that for yourself at your leisure. And I don't know how in the world these people get by with all this stuff. If you or I did that, we'd be under the jail. Okay, the next one is Now the End Begins. That's the website. And the name of the article is Kaine and Unable. Crooked Hillary picks boring Tim Kaine as her vice president. Kaine, 58, Catholic former governor of Virginia, has described himself in the past as boring, and it is seen as safe, moderate, and unexciting option, but his everyman roots, executive experience, and fluent Spanish are assets that could strengthen the Democratic ticket. By choosing Kaine, age 58, a moderate Democrat from a battleground state, Clinton has passed up the chance to pick a left-winger such as Senator Elizabeth Warren. So, there's a video in this if you want to watch that. You can pull it up yourself. The next one is off the Los Angeles Times. Fire near Santa Clarita continues to burn out of control. It explodes to more than 20,000 acres. A wildfire in the Santa Clarita Valley areas has grown to more than 20,000 acres, prompting new evacuations Saturday for hundreds of homes in canyon areas, authorities said. The evacuation order was issued about 3:15 p.m. for residents in Sands and Placerita canyons, according to the Los Angeles County Fire Department. At least 1,500, whoops, it's bouncing. Okay, at least 1,500 homes are threatened, fire officials said. The Sand Fire, which was reported about 2 p.m. Friday, is still only 10% contained, fire officials said. The fire has largely burned in areas without many homes until late Saturday afternoon, when winds began to shift from the northwest to the southwest, driving them closer to the Sand Canyon neighborhood in Santa Clarita County, or in Santa Clarita. County fire officials said. Those residents have been watching the weather, watching the media, and have to be ready to evacuate. John Tripp, a Los Angeles County Fire Department deputy chief, warned at noon news conference. The fire's rapid growth has been fueled by excessive heat, low humidity, extreme dry fuels that have not burned for several decades, and very rugged terrain, said a Los Angeles County Supervisor Michael Antonovich, who represents the area and attends the news conference. Fanned by gusts of up to 40 miles an hour, the fire burned more than 2,000 acres overnight. Weather officials warned that Saturday would mark the peak of the regional heat wave. Forecasters said the temperatures in the eastern Santa Clarita Valley area, where the fire is raging, hit 106 degrees. Red flag warnings will remain in effect until Sunday. Blaze doubled in size to 5,500 acres overnight, then mushroomed to more than 20,000 acres by 7 p.m. Saturday as the winds began shifting. The strong winds and high temperatures had driven the flames into new pockets of the mountainous areas by Saturday. He said steep hillside and deep ravines have prevented fire crews from heading into some areas to dig lines that could keep fire from spreading further. Probably 5 years ago, based on our fire behavior, if we had a similar fire, we would have probably caught this fire at the Ridge, LA County Fire Chief Darrell Osby said. Because this is the 5th year of an ongoing drought, the fire has increased to 11,000 acres just overnight. And this article goes on if you'd like to read the rest of it, but I think that covers the basic gist of it. Cool thoughts and prayers go to the people in Santa Clarita. Hope that they get this under control soon. It's sad to hear of such devastation going on. The next article that I have is off of the Daily Mail. It's conservative radio host Alex Jones gets into another scuffle at the RNC after crashing the set of the left-wing Young Turks. The conspiracy theorist stormed onto a stage with a microphone. He then thrust the device at host Cynic Yeager and demanded a debate. Jones also brought along GOP consultant and Trump ally Roger Stone. The journalists, with their production team, started shouting at each other. Jones was saved by cops earlier this week after protesters attacked him. And there's some video involved in this if you want to see it. I thought, gee, you know, Alex Jones went to the RNC convention, and it seems to me like he just went there to try to keep things stirred up all the time. He's in trouble twice at the hootenanny. And the next one we have is off of the Daily Mail, and it is grinning Obama jokes during statement on Munich carnage as he shifts gears to say he'll miss his daughter Melina when she leaves for the nest for college. President Obama briefed law enforcement Friday afternoon on unfolding mass murder in Munich, Germany. He noted how terrorism undermines people's freedoms and lifestyles in the absence of good law enforcement. Then Obama wisecracked about daughter Melina leaving the nest for college, drawing laughter from the entire room. Unfazed, he shifted gears back to the somber subject matter. Obama had held a joint press conference with Mexico's president 1 hour before the Munich carnage began, criticizing Donald Trump for exaggerating terrorism threats. As news reports of a gun massacre in Munich crossed the Atlantic Ocean on Friday, the President of the United States was cracking jokes. Barack Obama delivered a brief update to reporters at the White House about the still unfolding shooting rampage that left the German city on lockdown. 8 are confirmed dead and 10 injured. The president was speaking to law enforcement agents at the Eisenhower Executive Office building adjacent to the White House. But as cameras rolled on the somber moment, Obama grinned and chuckled and drew laughs from his audience about his elder daughter Melina leaving the nest and heading to college. Some of you are aware there were shootings in Germany, and we don't know exactly what's happening there, but obviously our hearts go out to those who may have been injured, the president said. It's still an active situation, and Germany is one of our closest allies, so we are going to pledge all support they may need in dealing with these circumstances. After a pause, he reflected on the impact of the potentially terror-related attacks and others like it on Americans. It's a good reminder of something that I've said over the last couple weeks, Obama said, launching into a list of ordinary daily life activities that are threatened in the absence of good police and intelligence work. Our way of life, our freedom, he said, our ability to go about our business every day, raising our kids, and suddenly the president's mood shifted. And seeing them grow up and graduate from high school and now about to leave their dad, he continued, waving his hand and breaking the tension as the room erupted in laughter. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little too personal there, he said. Obama then returned to the gravity he had discarded just moments before. That depends on law enforcement, he said. It depends on the men and women in uniform every single day who are under some of the most adverse circumstances imaginable at times, making sure to keep us safe. Friday morning, about 1 hour before the Munich gunman opened fire on the street outside McDonald's restaurant, Obama said in a joint press conference with Mexico's president, the Republican nominee Donald Trump has overreacted by drawing attention to crime and terrorism in his campaign rhetoric. This idea that America is somehow on the verge of collapse, this vision of violence and chaos everywhere doesn't really jive with American or with the experience of most people. Obama said alongside President Enrique Pena Nieto. I think it is important to be absolutely clear here, he added, and aware of the bloodshed about to begin an ocean away. Some of the fears that were expressed throughout the week just don't jive with the Facts. The area around the Munich Olympic Shopping Center has been sealed off. An electrical shop nearby is being used as a makeshift hospital to treat the casualties. It was reported that at least one gunman fled into the city's underground mass transport system, which has now been shut down. Germany's passenger rail authority also confirmed that Munich's main train station has been evacuated. Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump said Friday in a statement that our prayers are with those affected by the horrible attacks in Munich. This cannot continue. The rise of terrorism threatens the way of life for all civilized people, and we must do everything in our power to keep it from our shores. So there was that article. And the next one, this is off of the x22report.com. And the article is one that they put up this morning. It's how do we make America strong again? Start telling the truth. You want to make America strong again? The only way to do so is to start telling the truth and insisting on the truth. Making America strong again is a potent political narrative, but what does being strong mean? For some, it's code phrase for bullying, forcing other nations to do our bidding. For others, it describes a reemergence of widespread domestic economic vitality. Another audience sees the rebuilding of a social contract and social cohesion as the essence of strength. As laudable as some of these interpretations of strength might be, to me, being strong boils down to one principle and only one principle: tell the truth, however painful and unwelcome as it might be. The essence of weakness is the cowardice of avoiding the truth. We as a nation have grown accustomed to the cowardice of half-truths, half-confessions, half-apologies, and a financial system that rewards fraud in all its variations of artifice, deception, and lies. I thought that was an interesting little article, so I'd read it to you. And the next one and final one that I have, this is one that some people have asked me about, and so I will put it out there for your convenience. People want to know about Faraday cages and how to build Faraday cage. Faraday cage is basically a sealed off box that you put your electronics in case of an EPA. Or excuse me, EPA, EMP. I've been reading too much this morning. It says in this article, it's off the Survivalist, and it says testing the shielding effectiveness of a metal garbage can. And it says many people are looking for an inexpensive Faraday cage to protect personal electronics from a nuclear generated EMP. Unfortunately, it requires quite a bit of test equipment to determine shielding effectiveness. On the transmit side, it requires a signal generator, a high power amplifier, and a broadband antenna. The receive side requires a small battery operated spectrum analyzer. I've done quite a bit of testing on various makeshift Faraday cages, and this article discusses the effectiveness of a metal garbage can. A baseline open air measurement is first taken to determine the ambient field levels at some predetermined frequency. The levels at this spectrum analyzer are shown to be at minus 36 dBm. When placed inside the garbage can, the measurement is shown to be minus 46 dBm, meaning that the can offered 10 dB of shielding. Not too great. Much of the energy was believed to be coming in through the seam around the lid. It was therefore taped with conductive tape and measurement repeated. The next spectrum analyzer is placed into a metal garbage can and the measurement is repeated. The new measurement was shown to be at minus 77 dBm, meaning that the taped can offered 41 dB of protection, much better. The experiment showed that the metal garbage can Served as very good Faraday cage, but only if the seams are taped. Remember that it's not small holes that matter most, but rather long, narrow slots, such as those around the lid seam. Expensive EMI copper tape and cheap aluminum duct tape both work equally well, so a quick stop at the hardware store will get you what you need. To learn more about EMP protection, check out Disaster Preparedness for EMP Attacks and Solar Storms. Also, to find the highest quality EMP bags, the disasterpreparer.com. And that's all there in that article if you want to read it. But basically, what you do is you take a metal garbage can, you put your electronics in it, and you go to the hardware store and you get some of that silver tape that they sell for construction use. And you can get that at hardware stores. You can get it at home improvement centers. Copper will work also. So you wrap the seam of that garbage can lid so it's sealed shut. And that's supposed to protect your electronics from an EMP attack. So there you have that article if you want to peruse that. Man, we covered a lot of ground this morning. Wow. I put up a new storytime video last night over on my channel, and I put the link for my channel in the description in case there's anybody new or anybody that has wanted to go there but can't find it or whatever. You can find my channel and listen to the storytime videos. I think you'll be amused by it. The one I did last night was called Aunt Nanny, and I do them 2 or 3 times a week. I try to jump on there and do some kind of story time video for you and tell you some kind of a story. But they all have some kind of a moral if you dig deep enough for them. Some of them are just entertaining. But I thought I'd tell you about that. And I believe that I'm going to pretty much turn everybody loose today. I hope you all have a wonderful afternoon. I hope you stay cool wherever you are. I hope you're not in any path of danger for the fires and all that. And keep yourself alert. Watch what's around you. Be nice to people. Smile at them and look them in the eye when you talk to them. And when you ask them a question, be sure you want to know the answer. You know, if you say, "How are you?" don't just say it in passing. Say it because you really want to know how they are. Really talk to people. It's a lost art. So with that, we will turn you all loose for today. We'll see you back here at noon Eastern time tomorrow. Bye.